A bride's soon-to-be mother-in-law hated her so much that she allegedly hired men to throw red paint on her wedding dress on her wedding day as she was about to walk down the aisle. No joke, this took place in Mexico and there is documentation of it, there's evidence of it. Let's get into it. So the groom apparently was born into a wealthy family, and this groom's family dreamed of the day he would get engaged to another wealthy woman, that he would marry into another wealthy family. Well, too bad for them, he fell in love with a woman named Alexandra. And she is not wealthy, but she actually sounds like an incredible, patient person considering how awful her soon-to-be in-laws had been toward her. Now his mom, a woman named Mape, I think, went on the warpath to try to prevent her son from getting married and from them even being together, including threatening her and trying to bribe her with a blank check. So they just assumed that his fiance or his girlfriend at the time was just in it for the money. So they're like trying to get her to go away by giving her a blank check. Obviously, she's like, no, she rejected all of it. But then things escalated even more when they got engaged. So upon hearing the news of her son's engagement, Alexandra's mother-in-law to be, Mape, I think, I don't know, I've never heard that name before, so apologies if I'm mispronouncing it.
No, she's a bad person, you don't have to apologize to her.
True, but there might be other Mapes in the audience, so apologies to you. But anyway, faked a heart attack. Mape blamed the couple for her ill health and demanded her son cover all of her medical costs. She faked a heart attack and blamed the fake heart attack on the couple.
And then you want the son to cover the costs. I thought you were rich. I thought you were really mad at the bride for not being rich enough. Why don't you cover your own fake heart attack costs?
So February 18th, that's their wedding day. The groom's family refused to attend, which I think they did her a favor of doing. But the mom had another scheme up her sleeve. So standing in front of the church, Alexandra took her father's hands and then she's preparing to go down the aisle. Suddenly she feels like this splash, like near like the train of her dress. She looks back and she sees that her dress is covered in red paint. Now there's a Reddit thread that has like, the images and stuff, and here's one of them, and you can see the back of her dress is just covered in red paint.
Hey, that was a literal red wedding.
So that Reddit thread alleges that the mom had hired 3 men to throw the paint at Alexandra, and there you see it at the steps of the church.
She should at least have the decency to throw it herself.
So after the attack, the bride returned home. She was undeterred. She changed her dress into a different gown. She returned to the church and ended up getting married after all, okay? Incredible, resilient, brave, bold, love it. But believe it or not, it's not the end of the story, there's more. After the ceremony, the couple went to take their wedding photos. This woman is so evil. According to the thread on Reddit, the in-laws reportedly learned where the couple would be taken, or where the couple would take their photos, right? And sent an anonymous tip to police saying that they could find drugs there, explaining the groom might be in possession of them.
That's their own son.
They called the cops and made a false claim about their own son, so the cops would show up and ruin the photo shoot.
They swatted their own son's wedding shoot. That is, I've never seen anything like that.
And the police showed up.
Like, you could get him killed doing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so terrible. So the police do show up and they start searching the wedding guests. People start getting patted down because they're looking for drugs. They think that there's like a drug trafficking situation happening. Obviously they found no drugs, which by the way, I mean, I might take some drugs to a wedding. Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
Not to sell, but like, for a little bit of fun.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, but anyway.
It's like a minor miracle that they found nothing at that wedding.
Like the most innocent wedding of all time, no one had drugs on them. That's amazing.
Yeah,
kudos to them, I guess.
At least the cops were there. They should have arrested the guys throwing the red paint. Well, that was the wedding.
That was earlier, but
yeah, I know.
I agree. But after all of that insanity ensued, they finally go on their honeymoon, but the story still is not over. Shortly before the couple jetted off for their honeymoon, the groom's family hid his passport and visa, allegedly also trying to bribe the travel agency to ruin the trip. Fortunately, that didn't work, and bride and groom went on their honeymoon successfully, according to the New York Post.
Yeah, so I want to explain this. So look, I get it. You think likely she should be checked into a mental hospital, right? But remember, the bubbles are the strongest thing in the world. Like, everybody has a certain culture that they grew up with, and a lot of times it's microcultures. It's not just like, so this is not Mexican culture. This has nothing to do with Mexican culture.
No.
This has to do with rich culture.
Yes.
So that's the smaller bubble within that country, right? And you can call it anything you like, but it's the power of tribes. And tribes are not just ethnic or religious. They're also like these little communities. And in the rich community, and definitely not just in Mexico. I mean, you guys have probably seen Crazy Rich Asians, and all the immigrant communities know this. Asians know this, Indians know this, Turks know this, Middle Easterners, etc. Rich parents try like hell to protect their kids, in their minds, protect their kids from poor people. So that's why they try to prevent them from getting married to a poor woman or man, right? And they think that they're being really good and moral. And so they're protecting their tribe. So I guarantee you, she thinks she's an angel. The mom? Yeah. And that she's so heartbroken that her son got hoodwinked by a poor person. She's not in our tribe.
She's awful.
You're letting that stranger that's not in our tribe into, that's dangerous. Circle the wagons, only rich people. And by the way, it's not, like, I want you to understand where it comes from. One is the tribals, that's the most powerful thing. But in their minds, they have probably seen this a couple of times where a couple of scam artists did hoodwink some sons, daughters, etc.
Okay, you're so.
And so since they saw that story from 17 years ago, 37 years ago, they assume that's what happens every time.
If you care about your money that much, then lock your money down and let your son go. If that's what you're really concerned about, okay? Let him earn his own money. If you're so worried about the family fortune, because it's, I don't know, I just find all of this so incredibly pathetic, because finding someone that you want to share your life with is so special, and the idea that these people are gonna come in and try to destroy that for their son, just because he didn't find another wealthy person to get married to, he didn't fall in love with a wealthy person, is so sick. They should be celebrating the fact that they're fortunate, that their son is fortunate enough to fall in love with someone. Especially in this era where, and it's not just in the United States, there's growing loneliness everywhere. People are more and more atomized. It's harder and harder to find someone to fall in love with and want to share your life with. This is a wonderful situation where their son fell in love and wanted to, again, spend the rest of his life with someone.
Look, they can't see straight. When you're in a tribe, you circle the wagons and you can't see straight. So she's not gonna see any of that. All she sees is not one of us.
Money.
But I was gonna get to that. But the second thing here is, not only is it tribal, but this tribe is all about money. That's the point of this tribe, right? And so it's not connected to her religion, it's not connected to her nationality or any other trait other than money. And money becomes a god to them. So like other people have religions, money becomes their deity. And so they worship it and they're obsessed by it. And it becomes all consuming. That's when you see someone that doesn't have money, you think, they're trying to get my money. Because you've become Gollum.
Yeah.
Precious, right? So I'm so fascinated by humanity and the fact that people cannot see straight once they're in those bubbles. As we see her largely acting like a monster or a mental patient, she thinks she's protecting her son and she's an angel on earth.
What she's really doing is isolating herself from her future grandchildren, and so congratulations, lady.